The voters that voted for me are thrilled. They said, this is what we voted for.
U.S. military strikes in Venezuela sparking protests and celebrations. The uncertain future ahead as President Trump says America is now in charge. So how are Utahns reacting to this? Hear what could be good or bad for Venezuelans living here in Utah. And snow finally falling in our mountains. The warning, though, from Utah Avalanche Center after two snowboarders were swept away hundreds of feet.
Live and streaming, this is KSL News Now.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks so much for being with us. It is a new day in the new year. I'm Lori Pritchard. We'll get to those stories in just a bit. But first, Matt Johnson, we're seeing snow falling right now.
Yes, we are. And it's a welcome sight because this has been a slow start to winter. I'll get you outside here with the webcam in just a second, but the footnotes show that we'll see some showers this morning, but by afternoon, clearing out. Tuesday's quiet and dry, and then we've got valley snow chances going up as we head into Wednesday night into Thursday morning. Here's a look at Big Cottonwood Canyon. Yes, traction laws are in effect, and you can see here, well, we've brought the plows through and put some salt down. It's not bad through the lower half of the canyon, but the upper half, you definitely need that traction to get up to the resorts. I got light valley rain showers, even some sprinkles through Utah County. You get up over Soldier Summit, it is snow-packed at the peak, so heads up on Highway 6. Valley rain showers for Tooele all the way to Lake Point into downtown. You got snow up at the higher elevations. So through Parley's, if you're going up over that, well, you got snow on I-80. You got valley rain showers here from Layton to Ogden and Brigham City. Idaho border, it switches over to snow. Snowville into Malad, even Preston, picking up a rain-snow mix. These showers should last through about 8, maybe even 9 a.m., and then it clears out. I've even got some dry skies with a little bit of sunshine anticipated by this afternoon. Lori?
Matt, thank you. Well, take a look at your roads on this Monday morning. No issues on your morning commute, but we do want to give you a heads up for anyone headed up the Cottonwood Canyons this morning. Take a live look. This is the mouth of Little Cottonwood. Both canyons are under traction restrictions right now. In fact, Sandy police are here checking each driver to make sure you have that four-wheel drive or chains before you're allowed to head up to the resorts. They will make you turn around if you're not prepared.
We're going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. So we don't want to be involved with having somebody else get in, and we have the same situation that we had for the last long period of years.
President Trump says as of right now, the United States is in charge of Venezuela as the country works to establish an interim government after U.S. strikes. Venezuela's deposed President Nicolas Maduro just arrived at a New York courtroom after he was captured in a U.S. mission dubbed Operation Absolute Resolve. This is a live look outside the doors of that courtroom where Maduro will appear, outside of that courthouse, I should say. Judge Alvin Hellerstein will oversee Maduro's first court appearance later on today. Maduro was being held at a detention center in New York City. He is facing several federal drugs and weapons charges. It includes narco-terrorism, conspiracy, and conspiracy to possess machine guns and destructive devices against the United States. And right now, Maduro's vice president and close ally, Delcy Rodriguez, has stepped up as Venezuela's leader. She posted these photos to Instagram after their first Council of Ministers meeting on Sunday. With these photos, she also issued a statement saying she titled, quote, "A message from Venezuela to the world and to the United States." In that message, she says that Venezuela is committed to peaceful coexistence and is prioritizing its international relationships, specifically with the U.S., moving forward. She also said this, quote, "President Donald Trump, our peoples and our region deserve peace and dialogue, not war. This has always been President Nicolas Maduro's message, and it is the message of all of Venezuela right now."
Don't ask me who's in charge, because I'll give you an answer and it'll be very controversial.
What does that mean?
We're in charge.
President Trump, though, had his share a number of mixed messages here about President Rodriguez. President Trump initially telling reporters that Rodriguez had a, quote, "gracious conversation with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio." Now, though, he's laid out a stark warning for her, saying, quote, "if she doesn't do what's right, she's going to pay a very big price, probably bigger than Maduro." But when asked about who is running Venezuela right now, the president again asserted the U.S. is in charge of Venezuela. You just heard him right there aboard Air Force One. Well, Secretary of State Rubio went on to explain that the U.S. currently has a quarantine on Venezuela's oil and therefore controls the majority of the country's economy. He says the U.S. will continue to use that as leverage as the country moves forward.
Is ongoing, and we expect that it's going to lead to results here. We're hopeful that it does, positive results for the people of Venezuela, but ultimately, most importantly for us, in the national interest of the United States.
Venezuela's leader, President Rodriguez, has maintained that Venezuela will defend its resources. As of right now, President Trump has not ruled out sending in American troops if the administration does not get what it wants. Meanwhile, congressional Democrats are raising concerns about the very nature of U.S. actions in the country. They claim that the Trump administration bypassed Congress.
Not just do ships off the water. They went inside Venezuela, bombed civilian as well as military places. And it's a violation of the law to do what they did without getting the authorization of Congress.
The Trump administration, though, says nothing that they've done so far has required congressional approval, arguing that the U.S. is at war with drug trafficking operations, not Venezuela. Top congressional leaders, though, are due for a briefing today on Capitol Hill as lawmakers in both parties now pressing for more information about what's happened. All right, we're going to switch gears and check in with Matt Johnson right now to get a look at our forecast. Some of us seeing some rain, some snow.
Yes, and I've got a live image right now. Snow coming down for the Deer Valley area. We've got about 9 to 10 inches there with over 1 foot to 1.5 feet in the upper Cottonwoods. Here's a look at radar. You got valley rain, mountain snow, and that is delivering to the higher elevations. As we zoom in, if you're a commuter this morning from Tremont and south to Provo, you may run into some wet roads. Either it's raining actively right now or it's residual wet roads from earlier this morning. You've got active radar out there. 44 in Salt Lake, 39 in Logan. It's all valley rain. Not talking about any snow in the valleys, but if you commute over a mountain pass that exceeds 6,500 feet, you could run into a little bit of snow. Forecast for today, calling for 40s. It's valley rain showers, mountain snow showers in the morning, but by afternoon, it clears on out of here. Lori, we'll get to that 7-day in just a few.
We'll check back in with you. Meanwhile, the arrest of Maduro has Utahns both celebrating his capture and rallying against it. Many Venezuelans living in Utah say they're now optimistic about their home country, but advocacy groups now oppose how exactly this happened. News specialist Brian Carlson is live with our story this morning. And Brian, you have some pretty strong reactions from both sides about what happened over the weekend.
Yeah, that you do, Lori. And several Utah Venezuelans we talked to are so excited. They're even talking about returning home. But at the same time, you have local activists who are against the idea, they say, President Trump making this decision by himself. So to understand the reaction, KSL stopped by a Venezuelan restaurant in West Valley City called La Fratenga Maracucha. They say the capture of Nicolas Maduro marks the end of a very dark era in their homeland. The Venezuelan Alliance of Utah says Maduro's regime forced an estimated 8 million people to flee. It's believed 1 million came to the U.S. and 20,000 of them here in Utah. Seeing Maduro now in custody, leaving many of these Utah Venezuelans in shock.
We still can't believe that he's in New York in a jail for what he has done and his administration has done to Venezuelans for years now. With Maduro being captured, we see a light in the tunnel, right?
Now, that doesn't mean there aren't questions going forward. He says that includes how much instability remains, how long the government transition will take, and whether the new leadership can be trusted. So if life in Venezuela improves, he believes as many as half of the people who fled would consider returning home. So while Venezuelans celebrate, advocates like Salt Lake Indivisible say they don't agree with how President Trump handled this. They don't think he should have been able to capture Maduro without seeking congressional approval first. So they're holding a rally today downtown at the federal office building, calling on Utah's delegation to oppose any further unauthorized Venezuelan military action. That rally begins today at 4:30. live downtown. Brian Carlson, KSL 5 News. Back to you.
And of course, KSL will be following that. Brian, thank you for that update. We're also hearing from local experts on the impact that Saturday's events will have for Venezuelans here in Utah. Immigration attorney Carlos Trujillo says that this hits home for him. He was born in Venezuela and, like many Venezuelans, has spent years praying for regime change. So when President Trump said the U.S. will run Venezuela and tap into its oil reserves, Trujillo says many Venezuelans welcome that U.S. involvement, even if it means Maduro is out.
We understand that the United States will get a benefit out of this. We understand that there will be some sort of a windfall for them. And that's okay. If that's the price to pay for freedom, a lot of Venezuelans are willing to do that. However, I also know that it is very important for Venezuela to have their own leaders.
Trujillo says Utah communities will be impacted since the Beehive State is home to some 20,000 Venezuelan immigrants. Trujillo says many will face difficult decisions since Maduro's exit could impact their immigration status and asylum claims for political persecution.
That asylum price does disappear if democracy is restored. So again, it's something that is going to affect Utah. It's going to affect Utah's economy, but it's also going to affect a ton of families.
And only time will tell here. Trujillo says this moment is bittersweet. On the one hand, many Venezuelans may be forced to uproot their lives in the U.S. and then start all over again, while others may see this as an opportunity to return home, see loved ones, and help rebuild their communities. Trujillo also represented Josh and Tammy Holt, who you may recall as the Utah couple who were locked away inside a Venezuelan prison for nearly 2 years. The pair, who met online, had just gotten married back in 2016. They were staying with her family in Venezuela when police planted a grenade inside of Josh's luggage. That led to weapons charges. Both were subjected to terrible treatment under the Maduro regime. Well, in other headlines this morning that we're following, as the snow starts to pile up on the mountains, the Utah Avalanche Center is issuing a warning to anyone in the snow. Respect those resort boundaries. The warning comes after a pair of snowboarders ducked under a boundary rope at Brighton. That triggered a backcountry slide that carried them about 600 feet, both seemingly able to dig themselves free. And the latest report puts avalanche danger at moderate or above for all of northern Utah. So just be careful out there. And more snow falling on Sunday at Big Cottonwood Canyon. This is a look from Solitude. Skiers and snowboarders hoping for some significant totals over the next couple of days, with even more expected later in the week. And as we checked in with Matt Johnson just a little bit earlier, we saw Deer Valley getting some snow on the ground, adding to some of their totals. But what about the other resorts, Matt?
Hey, we picked up some pretty good totals, Lori, and I'll show you those here in just one slide. But right now, there's valley rain showers working through Salt Lake Valley. You can see that obstruction of your view just above those city lights, and that's an indication, yeah, we got some precipitation coming down. Here's a look at the snow totals. Alta now up to 18 inches. Brighton, Solitude, Snowbird, anywhere from 14 to 16 inches. I'm seeing different reviews on how much they've actually picked up. But Powder Mountain, Park City, Snow Basin, Bryan Head, anywhere from 6 to 12 and counting for these northern resorts. So we're continuing to see that snowfall right now. 24-hour rain totals, Eden, 2.26. Brigham City, North Ogden, Logan, anywhere from 3/4 to almost an inch of rain. About 1/4 to 1/2 from Centerville to Tree Mountain. But Salt Lake City and points southward into Provo, anywhere from a few hundredths to 1/10 of an inch is what you've seen. So this storm working through right now, core is out off the west coast. That core of low pressure will actually never move in. It'll slide to our north. You'll notice here valley rain showers and mountain snow showers through 9 a.m., maybe even the lunch hour. You push it into 4 o'clock, we're drying out, and we could even see some peaks of sunshine up in the skies. That's what we like to see. Tuesday, it is dry, mostly clear skies. I'm calling it a bye day because we've got another storm system that's going to follow up. That starts as valley rain and mountain snow, but eventually we could see some valley snow out of that thing Wednesday night, Thursday morning. Here's a look at central Utah. Hey, I've got some showers enlisted for today, 40s and 50s. Down to the south, well, it's a morning shower and then you're done with. Loa might pick up a snow shower. Into the north, this is again first half of the day. Second half of the day, it dries out. Highs will top out 10 above the normal in the 40s. And yes, it's another warm storm where we get valley rain and mountain snow. 50s all the way through Thursday. You got a 30% chance for showers, St. George. And then that weekend does look dry with highs near 50. Wasatch Front, you're going to go for 48 to 50. Dry tomorrow, but Wednesday night into Thursday, boom, colder storm. Not as much moisture with it, but hey, we will take the valley snow. If we then see high pressure build in, and inversion will set up over the weekend.
Yeah, we don't want that. Matt, thanks. We'll check back in with you in just a bit. Meanwhile, in other headlines that we're following this morning, a daycare worker in Blanding is facing child abuse charges. According to court documents, this investigation began back in October. It involves an employee at USU Blanding Daycare. Investigators say that employee can be seen on security video being physically aggressive with a young child. Officers say that employee picked up the child by the wrists and dragged them to the corner of the room onto a beanbag chair. Investigators say the employee also hit that child multiple times. When confronted about these allegations, the employee admitted to the abuse. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints says a missionary from Utah has passed away unexpectedly in New Mexico. Elder Caleb Gene Martin died in his sleep on Saturday from an undetermined medical cause. He was 21 years old. Martin, who is from Salem, Utah, has been serving in the New Mexico Farmington mission since May of 2024. According to the church, an autopsy is planned. Right now, police in Lehi are asking for the public's help in an aggravated robbery investigation. Police say this happened at a hobby store on State Street. A Madman's Hobby Store posting on social media that the man and woman stole an item from that store. An employee then tried to stop the suspects and was hit by their car and dragged. The suspects have not been identified, and police are reviewing surveillance video. The store employee is said to have broken both his legs and will need plastic surgery on his nose. Store management says he's being treated at IMC in Murray. Police still looking for those suspects this morning, so if you have any information, please contact Lehi Police. Also, new information about a police shootout in Spanish Fork. The man arrested on Saturday is now facing charges for attempted murder, assault, and kidnapping. Court documents identify him as 58-year-old Alan Searle. Police were called out after he allegedly attacked two of his family members. Both were able to escape the home. When officers arrived, they saw Searle holding a rifle through a window. A SWAT team tried to negotiate from an armored vehicle, but Searle allegedly opened fire and officers fired back. He was taken into custody a short time later. The Millard County Sheriff's Office says that they called in the Iron Cedar SWAT team to a domestic violence situation. According to a press release, deputies responded to reports of an aggravated assault and a suspect making threats with a gun. They say that man then isolated himself inside a home in Fillmore. The suspect was taken into custody without incident. He was booked into the Millard County Jail. Rescue crews stayed busy Sunday after responding to two different crashes, this happening in Weber Canyon. In this first crash, a car lost control at the mouth of Weber Canyon, smashing into the barrier, then causing a large piece of metal to impale the car. The driver was pinned inside, but miraculously only suffered minor injuries. The second crash here, almost near the very same spot as the first. Investigators say a car and semi collided when one of them hydroplaned near the westbound Mountain Green entrance ramp. The driver of that car was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The driver of the semi was not hurt. First responders are stressing the importance of slowing down during these winter storms, even when conditions don't seem that bad. No damage being reported after a 3.3 magnitude earthquake rocked Weber County. Residents as far north as Logan reported feeling that quake on Sunday, which struck just after 7. According to the University of Utah seismograph station, that quake struck near Huntsville with a depth of 7 miles. More than 200 people say they felt the quake. No damage has been reported. Well, the arrest of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro forcing investors to reassess who controls Venezuela's crude oil resources and if they can be revived after decades of decline. For now, the state-owned oil company controls the majority of oil production and reserves. If more pro-U.S. and pro-investment governments take shape, Chevron would be the best place to expand its role as it already operates inside the country. Experts are warning any regime change could disrupt the commercial chain that keeps Venezuelan barrels flowing. And experts say if a new government is installed quickly in Venezuela, sanctions could ease and oil exports could initially rise. However, a short-term surge could pressure prices. This morning, U.S. gas prices are holding steady. According to AAA, the national average price for a gallon of gas is $2.81. Here in Utah, the average price, $2.60. And Gas Buddy is predicting the average price for a gallon of regular gas will be $2.97 in the new year. If that happens, it will be the first year below $3 since 2020, so it's been a while. It would mark 4 straight years of falling prices. Gas Buddy is making that prediction despite ongoing uncertainty in oil-rich Venezuela. Something, of course, we'll continue to watch. Something else we're watching this morning is that weather out there as snow falling in some places.
Yes, we're getting beneficial snowfall up at the higher elevations. Solitude Mountain already with about 14 inches at Mid-Mountain. You can see snow covering the parking lot, and it is actively coming down as we speak. Here's a look at vortex across the state. You can see the Wasatch Front. Valley rain showers and mountain snow up above 6,500 feet. Cooler air starting to mix in now. Park City out towards Promontory picking up that snow. Valley rain showers across the northern region. I mean, this is a great storm. It's overperformed since what we were expecting from it, so that's good news. Valley rain showers now could extend into 9-10 a.m. Something to look for, and then we clear things out by this afternoon with a little bit of sunshine.
All right, Matt, thank you. The U.S. Postal Service is issuing a new stamp just in time for African American History Month. The 49th stamp in the Black Heritage Series honors Phyllis Wheatley. Wheatley was transported to the U.S. as a slave, but the Boston household where she worked educated her back in 1773, I should say. She published her book, Poems on Various Subjects, Religious and Moral. Her legacy earned her the title Mother of African American Literature. That stamp releases January 29th. Our state celebrating 130 years of statehood. January 4th was Utah's birthday. Back in 1896, President Grover Cleveland signed a proclamation admitting Utah into the Union. Heber Manning Wells would become the first governor of the state of Utah. So remember that if you're ever on Jeopardy! A 93-year-old Utah woman's biggest wish became a reality this New Year's. Her granddaughter gifted her a trip to Pasadena, California to see the Rose Parade up close and in person. That parade is an event that Ann Sharp has looked forward to every year since she immigrated to the U.S. from Holland back in 1973, or 73 years ago. Gosh, I'm getting these dates wrong. Okay, the duo didn't care that it rained on the parade, and Sharp just kept saying it was so much better than watching it on television. Her granddaughter shared the trip on social media, and the video got the Rose Parade team's attention.
They invited us to 2027, and they said that they have really, really good seats for us with our name on them.
That is awesome. So the pair says they plan to bring more of their family with them to the 2027 Rose Parade. Thanks so much for joining us for this segment of KSL News Now on this Monday morning. We leave you with a look of Salt Lake City waking up. Have a great day, everyone.